Welcome back. We are at the tail end of the conversation here, talking about the BBI and the Constitution, especially on some of the things that have been mentioned that would fix the country's challenges. Of course, we still don't have the report. It will be presented to the President, and then we'll know the content tomorrow. But looking at what the Constitution provides on some of the challenges that exist in the country. And we've looked at the 9-point agenda, and this, ladies and gentlemen, feel that it's not really a priority in fixing those, but they feel there are those challenges that Monanchi is talking about. And I want to be very specific. When you talk about bad prices for farmers in whatever they are growing or producing, when you talk about a falling economy, when you talk about a corruption that is unchecked, how exactly do you propose we resolve them if it's not through the BBI report that you're expecting?
I think that one was based on shared prosperity. What I can say, it's very sad, and that is why the issue of fixing maybe problems facing farmers is a big issue, because, for example, the milk prices are fallen from 35 shillings per litre to 15 shillings per litre.
Which country is that?
Of course, across the country, because this is the price of milk, whether you are in Nairobi or any other that we are selling. And that it has fallen from 35 shillings to 15 shillings per litre when you are selling it, because the prices have been affected. When the issue of maize farmers is a big problem, the issue of coffee, the issue of tea now that we're having. So the issue facing farmers in terms of prices, especially across the country, is very sad. And especially in North Rift, where we are considered as the basket that feeds the country. That should have been, it's essence that there are two things that should have been done. We should have given more resources and more powers to the agriculture, which is under fourth schedule, has been devolved to ensure, and then come up with protective measures. Because even as we talk that this is the harvesting season of maize, but we have seen the ministry in charge of agriculture want to import more than 2 million bags, and you can see it has been written. Secondly, on the issue of corruption, is that for example, my brother said there is a supplementary budget that they have cut 3 billion that was allocated to the judiciary. Judiciary had requested 23 billion. They were given 18 billion. Because of austerity measures, the supplementary budget that is before the National Assembly has cut 3 billion. Yet the investigative agencies like DPP and the DCI and the executive are blaming judiciary for not expeditiously listening to graft cases. The earliest a case can be listened to, as it is now, you can be told is in 2024. Then how do you tell us in the BBI report that we'll fix corruption, yet you do not resource the agencies or the system that is supposed to ensure that these cases are heard and ensure that they are being dispensed with?
But Senator, who is supposed to check the executive on those things?
Of course, before Senator Linturi comes in, when Parliament appropriates budget to these institutions, and that is why we have insisted to judiciary, for example. Let me use judiciary because I chair legal and is my vice chair. Is because when we want that is why we have told them that they should have a judiciary fund, to ensure that they have autonomy in terms of running resources. When you say about checking executive, we are, as the legislators or as a parliament, we have done our best in ensuring that we put to check to the government of the day, and that is why there are many.
But you see, Senator, if you actually disagree on the request of the National Treasury to take away some money from the judiciary, I mean, the National Assembly should have the voice to say, no, this is not going to happen. But
you know, National Assembly have been blackmailed. There have been allegations that if they don't pass the supplementary budget, their CDF will be investigated. And that one has even forced most of members of National Assembly.
Don't you think the institutions of this country then?
And that is why Mheshimiwa Alice was very categorical that we should strengthen the institutions that we have in this country. If the judiciary as an institution is strengthened, if executive as an institution is strengthened, if commissions are strengthened, then and we become fidelity. There is fidelity and upholding of the rule of law. I can tell you, my brother, all these things will be fixed. Finally, on the issue of elections, so that I don't lose track. The Crickler report recommended that 2 years before an election, we should have a fully running, constituted IEBC. As we talk, there are 3 commissioners. As we talk, there is no it is shocking that BBI will go for a referendum. Yet we don't have a functional.
We don't know that for certain. We don't know whether it will go for a referendum.
I can tell you. And I'm a prophet. Don't worry. I can tell you. You can hold me to my word.
Let's listen to the leader of majority, Aden Duale, because he spoke about the conversation about a referendum. All right, I will. Let's just listen to what he had to say in as far as that process goes.
Not a referendum. There must be a referendum law. Because the number, what the IEBC now is using in receiving the signatures both for the Okoa Kenya last few years and the Punguza Mzigo. They are using the Election Act of 2011. The referendum bill is sent to the county assemblies. Can county assemblies amend the draft referendum bill? That legal lacuna is there. What is the threshold of passing that bill at the county assemblies? There will be those who will support it and those who will oppose it. So in the absence of a referendum law, those who will oppose a referendum, they have an added advantage to go and use the corridors of justice and raise legal issues. If it doesn't have the introduction of a parliamentary system of government through a referendum as provided for in Article 257, I can tell you from where I sit and where I come from, that BBI will not have any meaning.
So that is the view of Aden Duale, the leader of majority, and he says that currently set out, we cannot have a referendum. Is that the true assessment of the law, really?
Maybe I can finish by saying yes. on the issue of, let us imagine if, for example, we go for a referendum. I want to agree with him that we don't have a referendum law.
But does that mean that we can't have a referendum?
No, I'm just saying we can make regulations, which is not a big deal, because the Elections Act has captured that. Number two is that we need electoral justice, because the aspect of acceptance of elections results in this country has been a problem.
Right.
Because let's imagine all Kenyans have a right either to accept or oppose this if it goes to referendum. Okay. What happens if our tradition and culture has been, if you lose an election or if you are comfortable with the results of the election, you are not comfortable. And therefore, even as I wish, even as we have a conversation looking into the future, the curricular report, in fact, I would have requested that these people who are basically saying the BBI should fix issues of election, they should have just picked the curricular report. The curricular report has the best proposals on how to address some of these issues to do with the elections in this country. We should push for electoral justice. Even if today we go for referendum to expand executive, to do what, and then 2022 reaches, we do not have electoral justice where people will accept and say, I've lost an election, I will allow the winner to take it. But this country, we have created a habit that we don't even trust our electoral system in this country.
And our institutions.
And our institutions. So it means a lot that when you talk about elections in this country...
So is that a problem of the citizenry or the politicians?
No, it's not even a problem. That is why the policymakers, us as the people who are enjoying sovereignty of the people, we should fix this issue. But just glossing over with a report, by the way, it's just a piece of paper, glossing over by the report that will be presented today under gentleman's agreement will not in any way assist in fixing some of these issues. Because the fact that we are saying the BBI report, for example, recommend that elections should be done, electoral integrity should be protected, is not legal. Because until we do a referendum, until we amend a constitution, that is when it will have a legal effect. But the way that report will be presented today, when the breakfast between the former prime minister and the president will happen, it's nothing much that will change.
Really, Senator, you call it breakfast.
It's a breakfast.
Kenyan have the best papers ever written.
Yes.
They are there, they exist, and they are done by professionals. They are there. If we can only agree to pick them, because I'm saying, let us not come with something that will solve a problem for short term, because years are moving and days are moving. And you ask, right now, even if we will go back to Wanjiku and start questioning Wanjiku what you want, Gituko right now, like you said earlier, things are not good. Things are bad at the grassroots level. The farmers are suffering. Milk is suffering.
And what is the solution? The
solution is we sit down as Kenyans right now, because these seats we are talking about, there are few seats for few individuals. They have been there. What about our Raja? We became 47 or 50 million. We are 47 or 50 million. We need to address that. And let me tell you, Gituko, if we do proper and we strengthen our institution, and I'll keep repeating that, that addresses all these things, because I've told you, papers have been written and good ones. If we implement them right now, there are so many countries, if you ask them, who is your president, even they don't know. Why? Institutions are working. People are working. Money is flowing. So even if you ask somebody, who is Gituko, they will say, I don't know who is Gituko, because to them, their pockets are okay. Their children are going to school. And also, to finish, I want to say this. Whichever the system, you know, after every election, there must be a winner and a loser. Whichever system we use, we must have a winner and a loser.
But Honorable Alice, let me ask you,
Yes,
don't you think what you're talking about, the prices of milk and the other products that farmers produce, don't you think it's part of the shared prosperity? Maybe we might have some solutions proposed there by
shared prosperity. And that's what I'm saying. I said I don't want to say what is in the BBI because I don't know what is there.
That's what I'm asking.
But
because
ask me what I would want it to be in the BBI is that exactly. That the farmers, their issues to be addressed. Like where I come from, it needs to be addressed.
That's what I'm asking. You said that
we need to revive KCC.
Just a moment, Senator.
No, listen.
Honorable Alice, you said that we need to sit down and resolve these issues.
Yes.
Don't you think the BBI task force was an attempt to do exactly that?
And Getuko, I want to tell you this. Me, I said I don't know what is in the BBI and I don't want to predict.
Okay.
If it comes and those things are there, I'll be the biggest supporter of BBI. If it comes to strengthen our institution, to inclusivity, I'll be the first one to defend. But I don't want to be told there's a system that can come that will not have a loser and a winner.
Okay.
Because whichever system, if it is an election, if it is being called that name, it must have a winner and a loser.
All right.
Allow me to say
yes, Senator, go ahead.
This is Getuko. I think the responsibility of sorting the problems of this country squarely lies on the highest decision-making body of this country.
Okay.
And we are able, I think we have very short memories as leaders, if I may say, because when you look at the history of this nation, and we have wazes around here who we can always revert to for advice. When President Kibaki took over the run of this country in 2008, the economic growth of this country was worse than it is today. The effects of post-election violence, right? Right? Yeah, sorry, in 1997, when he took the leadership of this country,
in 2002.
in 2002, things were worse. The economy grew within that 5 years by 7%. The guys that are telling us here they have a way of sorting out the problems were members, were in government that time when Kibaki was president. If they were keen, there is so much they would have learned from Kibaki, and because some of them were part of cabinet. In 2007 was when there was violence. We sat down and did a national accord. And all of a sudden there was semblance of peace in this country. Things started picking up. Right? So it's not that we really do not know. The problem is that we are being very insincere to one another. I can tell you, if the economic situation of this country is fine, there's a price for milk, there is money flowing all over, nobody would care. This problem, nobody would be interested. And now, because Kenyans have been impoverished, then people will come with narratives to create a situation as if Kenya is burning. Kenya is bleeding today because of recklessness in terms of policy, in terms of how people perceive things that are meant to benefit of a country, and rather than taking the advantage of the authority given to them by the people, then a lack of sincerity, they take advantage of the innocent Kenyans and the ignorance that we really have as a country. So even as we address this thing, because just as Alice has said, good papers have been written, documents are there, there is sufficient law. Can we be honest to the existing laws and the institutions that have been given responsibility by the Constitution to deal with what their mandate is all about? That's the question we really have to deal with. Because otherwise, if we want to assume the difference between elections, problems between President Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, because Raila has refused to accept losing an election, and the other one now since that because I want a lot of peace and comfort, I am unable to deal with this thing head on. Someone has shown himself as president, and there is no to deal with such things. So I must now say, let us deal with it. All these problems have answers in our law. There is nothing new. There is nothing
If you are talking about shared prosperity, for example, the issue of milk prices,
yes.
Okay. It is about Kenya cooperative creameries. You need to fix it. If it is about maize, you need to fix the National Cereals and Produce Board.
Of course,
yes, it is not.
Of course, a lot has been said about these things, but nothing ever seems to be implemented. But I take an interest in what you just said, that you actually think someone was trying not to address the challenge that the country was facing head on. You actually think the handshake has not helped this country?
No, then let me tell you.
It has divided the country.
The handshake, so long in terms of bringing peace and semblance, because nobody has ever gone to the streets, has done so much, have been supportive of the handshake.
After that?
What I am trying to say, and by the way, I have not even pronounced my position in terms of the results of the BBI, because it's not out. When it is out, when I will say what I think about.
When it is out, you make sure you invite us.
Is what I think
about. Right now,
so,
we are just speculating.
Gituko, what we are saying is that the handshake has done well. When everybody else never saw an handshake, I used to appear on AM Live in Nation TV. When members of the Senate were not going to sit in the Senate, I was permanently on a Tuesday telling people whatever we can give this guy for that there is peace, let us do it.
Okay.
But you see now, we should not create positions for
so we are giving the BBI
report.
Gentlemen and lady, I want us to close, but I want to quote what Gunjiri Wambogo, Member of Parliament for Nyeri Town, is quoted as saying that he's a leading member of the Kilewek camp that favors President Kenyatta against DP Ruto, and he has said that our team intends to read it and organize public fora where we will invite experts to guide discussions. Aden Duale, the majority leader, has been saying that he's talking about he expects that the team has recommended the adoption of a parliamentary system of government as one of the ways of ending the culture of electoral violence. And he's quoted that if they have not, they will have failed because Kenyans will continue fighting and dying over elections. Let's get the battle from the National Tallying Center and take it to the constituencies, he is quoted as saying. And so finally, and I want you to say this in 10 seconds, exactly. So Senator Cherargei, once the report is submitted to the president today and released to, and unveiled to the public tomorrow at the Bomas of Kenya, what will you do with it?
Of course, I don't want to preempt it. We'll read it, and if it has the interest of Kenyans that will assist us uplifting economic status, fixing agricultural products prices for us, fixing youth unemployment in the country, improving our economy, I will support it. But
thank you.
No,
thank you. Honorable Alice.
The same. I want to tell you that if it comes out tomorrow, even the president himself told us in Sagana, we read it thoroughly. And I keep on saying this time we don't sugarcoat it. We go directly to Wanjiko. And I keep on saying, we translate, we go to all FMs, the one they can understand better, to make sure when we'll be making a decision, it will be an informed decision, not the one that has been made up there.
Right.
Let them, because at the end of the day, they have the voice. At the end of the day, they are the owners of this nation, the Kenyans, the Wanjikos and if it has good things in it, I will support it.
Okay, Senator Linturi, what will you do with it?
No, immediately south, I think we'll sit down as the leaders of the Great Meru County, sit down, read through it, and see the effects it has on the people of Meru. From there, we will pronounce ourselves on the position that we are going to take, but I can only say that if they are serious on this one, then let it take, and if the proposals are meant to inform constitutional changes, then they must either go the popular initiative or the parliamentary way, because that's the only way to amend a constitution.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady, for making time for us. Of course, you've been watching News Review on Daybreak, but I understand we have 2 SMSs that we need to read. Just listen. We're not yet out. Let's take a look at what Kenyans have been saying on 22422. You don't say who you are. The far Kenyans have gone shows that by now we need to change gear. Simply, our people are not represented well and nothing done well except politicking day and night after every election. Let politicians stay aside and people decide with this BBI report. Whew, I don't know how possible that is. What else do you say? This is P. Philip from Mombasa. I hope the BBI report will create unity among Kenyans and improve the economy of the country. Can it? Or is it the responsibility of leaders? Honorable Alice Ohome from Thika, former member of Parliament. Sorry, I keep getting it wrong. Alice Ganga, come back to studio. Let's have this conversation from Thika constituency. Senator Samson Cherargei from Nandi County, Senator Mithika Linturi from Meru County. Thank you for making time for us. Daybreak continues. After this, we have a break to talk about comedy. We'll be telling you who is coming to studio. Back in a moment.